Good day again, my people. Hoping all is well. I want to speak on the what's going on with the Trump presidency and what's going on at the border. Immigration is a big topic. Immigration is a topic that affects, well, in somehow, some form, probably. And when I mean affect, I mean where feelings are involved. People know people. Probably about 75% of America, if not more. A lot of us know people I worked with for years in Atlanta as an employee, as a manager, as a general manager, supervisor, trained people that didn't have, they came in through the border, snuck into the country. Which reminds me of a story. I worked for a concept, a restaurant one time, that was under the umbrella of a huge company named Brinker International out of Plano, Texas, where they were based out of there. And I got to the point where I traveled around the states and I opened up stores for them, the restaurants, and I would train the new staff, the management that was coming in. Part of the reason why I didn't stay with that company was because I had a talk with a manager one day and he was honest with me. And he told me, what's holding you back from becoming a manager? And they were getting paid. That company paid good money. The benefits were good. It was a good company to work for. But he was honest with me. He said, actually, he wasn't a manager. He was he was almost like a VP. Todd was his name. Is his name. I'm sure. Or at least I pray. He told me, he said, because I had a conversation with him. I said, I see the managers come through here. I trained them, I've been in this position, whatever, And he said, I'll take a look into it. And I would train folks from like everywhere. I was based out of Atlanta. I would have managers come from Chi-Town, from Cali, and all those places. And they would come through my store and they would be there for 2-3 weeks. And I would train them, whatever, in certain aspects. But I guess basically, to be honest with you, with like the hands-on part of the restaurant industry, not the office. And he sat me down and he said, after months, he came back through. He called me over that night and he said, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Even though I know you, because Todd, I seen Todd in a lot of places. Anytime they opened up a new spot, Todd was there. So I knew Todd well, and I guess that's why he was honest with me. And he told me, listen, I know you. He said, I know you, and you know what? I could vouch for you. He said, but unfortunately, when you're dealing with companies this big, he said, to be honest with you, just for like a lack of a better term, you're just a piece of paper, and all they're looking at is what's on the paper. They don't know your character. He said, and your past, they're not going to give you the keys, basically. So after that, Raul being Raul, I got reckless. Yeah, I think I had got fired on my day off because I used to party, like in the Buckhead area. So one time for dinner, I showed up with some chick, and stopped there to eat dinner late, like 10:30. It was late to eat, about 10:30 at night. Yeah, and I was on it, and I was mad. Yeah, and the manager wasn't like my manager. She was from out of town. I can't remember why she was there. Anyway, her and I got into it while I was there that night. And I told her what I thought about her. That was that. I came back though a few months later, but it was short term. I was out. So anyway, immigration, after all that. Immigration. A lot of people are concerned. But I'm going to pull it back some. All right? We have to remember, which I think in the chaos of all this, we forget. And I know you hear the term, you know, the system been broke for years. Immigration been broke for years. Well, we had at least what looked like a semblance of a plan or like a policy. America used to take in, or still does, millions a year through the proper ways of doing it, whether it be a visa and all those other, through NGOs and all of that stuff. I think they accepted about 3 or 4 the million people per year, right? 4 million. I believe it's about that amount. But I guess for the Democrats that wasn't enough. So they were like, you know what? We got the answer. Just open the border. I'm sure nothing's going to happen, right? So they had that. And I remember because this conversation has been happening for years. I remember when this conversation was really, and this was before Biden came into office. I used to ask my folks, because I'm Puerto Rican, right? Though we don't have no issues with that. They're Hispanic, at least those, from the southern side. And we know folks, some of us have dated people like that found themselves in that position. I know I have. And I probably haven't, didn't even know it. Or at least, dated somebody, if you know what I mean. So, oh yeah, I know how. Oh, let me say this. I almost forgot. I went through that whole immigration, that whole thing with the last job. So I sat down with the managers one time in Atlanta, right? Somebody came in for an interview, a Spanish dude. He was an older cat. So they called me over so I could translate the little that I can. I understand everything, but the translation part. Lost in the translation, folks. That's me. So we sit down, and mira, tú sabes qué, back and forth. As Raul struggles along, but I'm getting by. They asked him for his ID. Hey, tú tienes papeles. Déjame ver tu ID. You got your papers? Let me see your ID, buddy. It's that time. Slap it on the table. So old boy gets up, takes out his wallet, and like if we were in Dade County Jail, old boy slapped that thing down on the table like he was on a spade cake. Bam! There it is. And I just looked at that thing and I thought to myself, oh my. I took it. I didn't even pick it up. I took it. I just looked at it. And I slid it over to the manager. There you go, buddy. Take a look at that one right there. He looks at it. He smiled. Looked at me. And old boy said, this is a bad one. Gave it to the other manager. He looks at it. Looks at old boy. He said, yeah. Handed it to me. I look at them. They spoke. I looked at old boy. Said, you start Tuesday at 8 a.m. Congratulations. Next. Yeah. So, yeah. See, the trick is, and this was when they passed that law with, whatever this case me, that they got on the butt of the employers, that they had to make sure the paperwork was right. But the way around that was, they're not experts. They don't know what's a fake ID or, because I did ask them after that. When they left, I asked, hey, you guys, and they laughed and they said, yeah. I said, so how do you get around that? He said, we're not experts at that. And this is why he said, that's what corporate told us to say. Anyway, so we have ways for people to get in. I get it. The line is super long. Yo, a lot of people want to get in. All those that, oh, America's so terrible. Then why so many? Why is the line so long? And I used to ask my Spanish people, okay, I get it. Give me a number. Give me a number that you think is suffice for us to take. And you know what? I never got an answer. I never did. No one ever told me, you know what, 6 million. You know what, 15 million. Because all I did was just ask for a number. Just give me a number. They never did. And something else I used to ask was, and is it only the Hispanics that could come in? Because if that's what you're saying, that ain't fair. That is so not fair. But they never would answer that. And like I would say to people, I get it. They show that lady with the baby crying on the Mexican side of the border because Trump, with a ruling, shut down that app for the appointment. And she was right at the door. But she couldn't get in. And if you just think about that one lady, because I saw it, and my heart cried for her. I said, man, that is so sad. But I'm also aware it ain't only her. It ain't only her. Okay? It's not only her. If put in that predicament where people could get in, half of the world will probably want to. Could we sustain half of the world? The answer is no, we can't. Hey, we're struggling as it is. We were struggling before they opened those borders. We were struggling before then. I had a conversation the other night, and I must admit I got a little bit on the animated side because I have been quiet for a long time. And I said this. I said, what Democrats need to do, the voters, I'm not talking about the politicians because they're going to do what they do. I said, what the voters, all those angry, upset, Hispanic, black, white voters that are Democrats should look at themselves, should look at their party, look at what they did, and accept and understand that is the reason why Trump today sits in office. That what that party did, what they did is what got Trump in office. Let me tell you how crazy it is. This week that just passed, you turn on the news, It's incredible how fast the change that Trump is making. Da, 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 da. It's all over the news, yo. The funny thing is, go back 4 years. Go to the news 4 years, and they were saying the exact same thing. I promise you. Exact same thing. Not only were they saying it, exact same thing was happening. And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about all that? You know what's crazy? All he's doing, right, is going back and he's implementing things that were there in the past. That's how it used to be. That's how it was supposed to be. That's how it was supposed to be. He's not doing anything new under the sun. He's not. All he's simply saying is we got to shut down the border, all right? And we, for our safety, have to see who came in, right? And if they should stay here or not. Every country, I would imagine, should do that. Want to know, hey, who's in here? I'm sure. And with Birthright, on a show called TYT, on the last election, not the one that just passed. No, I'm sorry. In 2016, there was a Spanish chick there, right? I mean, deep blue chick. Somebody, I'm an anchor baby, and I'm proud to be an anchor baby. Right? Right? One thing I noticed, and that's when I knew, man, this thing is set from beginning to end. When I saw lines and lines and lines of 4'5", 4'6" women, young women, teenagers, 15, 14, 16, 25 with 2 kids, with 4 kids, And I thought to myself, why would these women travel supposedly on foot through 3 countries with baby in tow, yo? Sleeping in desert and cold weather and all that. You're gonna tell me millions of them, not just young, healthy men. No. On those lines, yo. Now, if you ask me, hey, they got bussed in probably 2/3 of the way, I'll be like, yeah, that sounds about right. Hey, make sure you're here to take this bus. Hey, there's gonna be a bus over there mañana way. At this time, let's make sure we make the bus. Alright, way. No mames. Yeah. So, they did that. Now, just imagine. And I hate to say this. And this is more of a joke, but I could see them crossing over successfully. And the first hotel that they run into, they look around and say, you, come on, man, let's do this. I need to have this baby, yo. What's your name? What's your phone number? I'll hit you up. No se te olvide, way. I'm going to be the daddy. I should get into. Yeah. And hey, about the Mexican, it's just because I happen to be around them a lot, so I know the way they speak or kind of like the cadence and all that. That's why I'm doing that. Okay, it's not because I'm picking on them or anything like that. It was more of a joke. So settle down, people. Settle down. Don't want nobody to bite me on my ankles now. So, can we really just allow millions of the young women that came in have babies, and then because of that, hey, the child is an American way. Because of that, knowingly, when they were in their country, they knew, boy, if I get over there and I have a baby, you know how we as Americans talk about generational wealth, right? To many, sadly, that is the pinnacle. Some don't even think about it because they don't think that's ever possible unless they hit the lotto. Generational. To them is, man, just getting into the U.S. That's all. A really sad statement in itself, but that's how a lot of them think. So when they're over there and they come up with their plans, I'm sure they tell them, yo, don't forget, find yourself a man. Have that baby, yo, you be straight. Sounds mean, but if I had $1 million, too bad that conversation went around through those camps. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And because of that,